Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty darn good. I've had my morning coffee. I've had the tiniest little bit of electrolytes in the form of Celtic salt, not sponsored. And I'm feeling hydrated. I'm feeling energized. And we, for the first time, and well, it's not the first, we've done this before actually, doing a weekend and taken up our own free time
Yeah,
to record this podcast.
we're so giving. We just give and give and give. You know
Yeah,
who else gives? Riverside. When you need,
Are we doing this?
I don't know. We got emailed with a thing saying, "Hey, we'll give you commission if you mention our thing."
Yeah.
I'm
still
just practicing because we're obviously
practicing.
not professional podcasters, so we got to practice being able to get like ads and stuff in.
Yeah, well,
mentioning
we
things.
may or may not be sharing an affiliate link in the description, but if we do, you can get 20%
Boy, it's
off.
going to be the best one.
Apparently, you can get 20% off if you sign up to Riverside. But I wasn't going to start off this cold open with a cold, hard ad.
Okay, all right.
I was going to start
I'll just
off...
mention it throughout then at other times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But, oh, you know what I think about this movie? I think it flows just like a river on the side of my bed.
You know, in The Brutalist, he tries to design a building and there's a little insert where he needs to get some water. So he goes to the riverside, takes a drink, takes a long cold drink and fully replenished, and he's able to record his 1960s podcast about architecture. thanks to Riverside.
You know what one of my favorite child actors are from the 90s? It was Joaquin Phoenix's brother, River. Side note, we are going to be...
You got to do it quicker.
Yeah. Oh, no. I think I did it the correct amount of time.
I always liked his brother, River. Side note, he died.
Sidebar.
Sidebar.
Speaking of sidebars, Riverside is... plenty of sidebars on his dashboard. If you click on each feature, there's probably something. Yeah,
you know what? To be fair to Riverside, right? We did spend ages looking for the right thing to use for recording our podcast, and it is pretty good. But anyway,
here's the opening.
It's pretty good. You know what? I'd rate it a full chatting
pitch. Very good.
Speaking of Riverside.
Speaking of chatting pitch Riverside, here's the side note jingle. Perfect. Hey, I think we're on...
I feel so dirty now.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
You're fine, monkey.
You're fine. You have to be fine. I think this week we are on part 2 of however many parts there are going to be.
Part 2 of 1.
The Oscar nomination Best Picture rundown. What did we talk about last week? We had... what was it last week? Oh, the Complete Unknown.
And The Complete Unknown, yeah.
Yeah, those 2 movies. So we're moving down the list. There are 10 of them. And this week, I watched one, and Matthew watched one. So to this date, I still haven't seen A Complete Unknown. You still haven't seen Emilia Paris, I'm assuming.
No.
And
although I'm guessing from your reviews last week that I'm not really missing out. Yeah.
Well, this week, Matthew watched... Would you like to introduce the Best Picture nomination that you
I'll
watched?
talk about mine, then you can do a full review of yours, because I went first last week. So, let's be fair. So I watched The Brutalist, the full 3.5 hours, including intermission.
Oh, how long was the intermission?
15 minutes.
Okay.
Which is probably the right amount of time.
3.5 hours turned out to be 3 hours and 45 minutes in total with the interval.
Let me just check. Well, the intermission is built into the runtime, and it says 3 hours 34.
Is there a cliffhanger at the intermission? Or is it just
not a cliffhanger, but you know that a character is about to be introduced who you have not
Okay.
seen yet. You've heard them, but you haven't
Sure.
seen them.
Okay. Because I don't know if it's kind of similar to Indian movies with their intermission, because they build the narrative around the fact that there is an intermission. So halfway through, there's a massive cliffhanger, and everyone goes to the lobby. They go get popcorn and say, "What do you think is going to happen?" I don't know. I'm watching the same movie as you, buddy.
It's definitely placed deliberately. I wouldn't say it's a cliffhanger. It's just there's definitely this portion of the movie is without this person. This portion of the movie is when this person gets introduced.
And do you feel like it added to the movie? Was it refreshing to have an intermission?
It was quite nice. I watched it quite late in the evening.
Yeah.
After not a great night's sleep. So it was quite nice to have 15 minutes baked in there. And then,
but do you think it would have made the experience better or worse if you just raw dogged it?
You know what?
3.5 hours.
I won't get into too much detail about why, because I'll let you go first with your movie. But I enjoyed it enough that I think I could have watched it without the intermission. That being said, I liked that the intermission was there because it was a nice bit of breathing space. You could think about the first half-ish that you have seen. Go for a walk around.
My main problem with a movie that long is that I would love the intermission, so I could just go for a wee. Quite often, movies that are that long, by the second hour within the third hour, I'm like, I really need to go to the toilet now.
Right.
Because I'm a man with a small bladder, and I also drink a lot of fluids.
So you're a fan, in theory, of intermissions for longer films, there?
I am, actually, because I think it should be a standard. If a movie is 3+ hours long, surely give us a rest, mate.
It seems to be a weird, almost manufactured debate online. So, not in the real world, where people are talking about, like, oh, why does this have an intermission? And then you have people on the other side of this manufactured debate. I think intermission should be a thing. Like, well, whether you think it should or shouldn't be, it's in the movie. So
you know what they should do? The Hollywood system should, movies that long, they should have 2 different screenings. One with an intermission and one without an intermission.
I think if the filmmaker thinks the intermission should be in there, then it should be in there.
Okay.
But I'm very much of the persuasion that the artist creates what they want. And if the audience happens to like that, then that's good. Yeah. If the audience doesn't like that, well, put up with it or just don't watch it at all.
Well, here's the thing. With the way that cinema screenings go, there are so many different versions, and I will let you get to the review.
No, that's fine.
There are so many different versions of a screening. So if it's a foreign film, you get the dubbed version, you get the subtitled version, and you also have versions with audio description.
Sure.
You got other versions that are for people who are hard of hearing. Is that the same? That's not the same thing, is it? Audio description and hard of hearing.
No.
Hard of hearing would be subtitles.
Audio description would be hard of hearing
see.
people would just be like someone bellowing at you. He's swinging from his web now. Still swinging. Yeah, he just said something that was sort of funny. He said it like it was a joke.
Are there any screenings? There's got to be screenings for people who are both deaf and blind, right?
Maybe.
It's all down to smell-o-vision and sensory.
Yes, I can smell I can smell the sweat on the spandex. But let's talk about yours first, and then we'll get
this
into
set is giving me 3-act structure.
He's just been dumped by his wife. Yes. I can smell the regret.
Okay, you want me to talk about my one? Okay,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, because we did mine first last week. So let's be fair.
Sure.
So what did you watch? Because I haven't seen this one.
I watched Anora, which is also one of the 10 Best Picture nominations of 2025. And let's talk about the story first. So do you know anything about this movie?
I know the gist of it.
Okay. I'm going to try and use as little I don't want to say it. I'm going to try and use as PG friendly words as possible.
Okay.
Because this is an R-rated movie.
And we're going spoiler-free reviews here because I haven't seen your movie, you haven't seen my movie, so anyone listening, don't worry, I'm not going to ruin the bit where Guy Pearce gets into his robot mech suit.
And he says, I am the brutalist.
Time to brutalize you.
Oh man, this brutalist is
He's
very
in his
brutal.
mech suit now. He's pointing at the screen. I think he's going to brutalize us. Yeah, you as a viewer. Yeah, he's breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, he's literally he's broken.
This smells so brutal right now.
Oh, the smell. He's literally broken all four walls of the building down. I think it's a commentary on, is that cinnamon? Yeah, it's a commentary on metatextuality. Oh.
Yeah.
The meta snake is eating its own butt. Yes, I can smell it.
Yes, the metal snakes.
The metal Adrian Brody's like, well, I had time to get into my middle snake, Guy Pearce.
This is great for the pitch portion.
Sorry, no, go on.
Yeah. So Anora, essentially, it is about a sex worker, but she's not your.
Let's do PG. Let's do PG language. She's a shrinky handler.
Shrinky. Well, to be honest, you interrupted me right when I was about to explain that she's not a full-on shrinky handler.
Oh, okay.
She is a shrinky enticer in the form of she does dances.
Okay.
She does very up-close dancing. She is not what most people would assume is a prostitute. She works for a strip club and she performs dances for people in exchange for money. And then one day, I assume a Russian lad. Yeah, I think he is a Russian lad. Yeah, so he comes in. He's quite young. He's like 20, 21 or so. And she's in her mid-20s. He comes in and asks for a special lap dance. And
wait, let's do PG language. Don't just say 20.
Oh.
He's 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't think about how long this bit would be. 5,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
20 apples. He's 20 apples years old. So he goes into the club and meets the stripper, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's a stripper. So, and then they form a bit of a bond and they get very close to each other. And they start hanging out. But little did she know, this Russian kid has a lot of money. And she finds it quite fun to hang out with someone with a lot of money. And it's a life that she's never known. And without giving too much away, let's just say there's more than meets the eye. Yeah.
Transformer. Yeah.
No, she's not a transformer. He's not a transformer. When I say more than meets the eye, it's the fact that she knows very little about him.
Okay.
Where does all the money come from? Something must be up.
Yeah. He's trying to destroy the evil forces of the universe.
Of the Autobots. Yeah. So what happens is a slew of events. Without giving too much away, here's the thing. I never watched the trailer before watching this movie. So I went in completely blind, but I knew a little bit about what the story was.
Okay.
And I came out of it feeling very surprised at how much of a roller coaster this movie was.
Okay.
Because it felt like... what's a movie that you would describe as something that goes from one thing and then a moment happens in the movie that kind of snowballs into a series of events, and you're kind of thinking, "Oh my lord, what's going to happen next?"
Okay.
What are those type of movies called? It's like a roller coaster movie, right?
Yeah. Twisty turny. Yeah, it's a twisty turny movie.
Twisty turny. Yeah. So, quite a lot happens in the movie, and I will say this: it was surprisingly funny.
Okay.
Like very, very, very like dark, dry sense of humor quite a lot of the time. And I found myself laughing more often than wincing.
Right.
There is quite a lot of graphic scenes in it, but like I said, it was an R-rated movie. And when I say graphic, I mean uh, re. I'm trying to be PG friendly here.
Power through.
You know when a mother and a father tries to make a baby, and the stork comes in and brings the baby in,
And the stork
There's a lot
says, "That's not how you make a baby."
There's a lot of that, except the stork doesn't bring the baby. The stork's just there.
The stork is a
drift.
Russian mafia boss.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, there's a lot of that. But I would say I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a really fun movie to be had. I think it's quite funny every time they cut to the graphic scenes because it's just a shock to the system. I'm like, oh my Lord, okay.
So they just drop you into the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And but they don't last very long. It just happens, and then you're like, well, okay.
Well,
and
now he's buying donuts.
Yeah, but yeah, I will say the guy who plays the Russian kid, like he's quite funny. It's I'm trying so hard not to spoil anything, but there are like quite a lot of Russian characters in there, and their dialogue kind of reminded me a lot of kind of Quentin Tarantino movies.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the way that they speak to each other, the casual nature of the conversations. And it's such a serious topic, but then suddenly somebody says something really funny.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot of that, like especially during the middle act.
Okay.
And towards the final act as well. But yeah, the only thing that I would say is that the ending surprised me in a way that I wasn't really sure how to take it. And I think after reading other people's interpretations and the director, who I don't remember the name of, let me just double check on that. Anora was directed by Sean Baker. He is an American filmmaker, and he's made other films such as Red Rocket, Prince of Broadway. I'm not sure. Tangerine, apparently that's a big one.
Oh yeah, I saw Tangerine. That's really good.
Yeah, same guy who does that. So if
very much
if you've seen
like
those...
independent awards, darling.
Yes,
that sort of
yes, thing. yes. And this did very much feel like an independent movie. So yeah, I think I'd give it a solid. I think a Chatting Pit. I'd give it.
Okay,
I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
I think the C and the H of the full Chatting Pitch is lost only because the ending was a little bit too ambiguous. But I guess it does kind of make sense in the grand scheme of things. If you watch the movie, you'll understand what I mean.
Okay.
But
do you think
also,
the ending is shock value? Or
I think the ending was there to spark debate, and I think it was supposed to be up for interpretation. Because when I watched it with my partner, we were both kind of like, "Oh, is that how it ends? Okay, interesting." Because it ramps up all the way up into a moment, and it kind of just plateaus before the ending, and then you're like, "Oh, okay, we're left with this then."
Okay.
But yeah, that's my review. I think it's a proper good watch, and especially if you're a fan of sort of dark comedy.
Okay.
It's a good one. There's my review. What did you watch, Matthew? That had a 3.5 hour runtime, and
yeah. We already started talking about it. Yeah, I watched The Brutalist. Yeah, wow.
Go on, lay it on me.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
What's the story
in a good way? So the story. Okay, so Adrian Brody plays Laszlo, who is a Hungarian architect. That's the word.
That's the word.
Sorry,
you're looking for.
I'm very, very tired after the late screening last night. But yes, Laszlo is a Hungarian architect. He's forced to come over to the United States because of how things are going obviously at that time in history, we had the Second World War going on.
The year is 3033. Sorry, yeah, it was Second World War, was it?
Yeah, Second World War going on. So he's forced out. He's forced to leave his wife and his niece back there.
So no giant mech robot suits. This isn't the future.
No, there was a bit where the Statue of Liberty is shown and the shot lingers, and I thought, oh, it's going to be Ghostbusters, but no, it just didn't.
Oh, there's more than meets the eye here.
So, we're not going to get a full chatting pitch here because there was no giant mech suit battle.
No ghosts or robots.
No ghosts or robots. So what?
No, go for it. So so
he's
come to America,
and it's that sort of typical problem where you have a really overqualified human being who happens to move to another country, and he ends up in some menial jobs. He ends up shoveling coal. And he's an architect who is known for creating these works of beauty in his throughout Europe, but in the States he's a nothing.
Okay.
So he goes from creating these scenes of wonder to, okay, I'm shoveling coal, and then someone asks him, have you designed anything while you're here? And he says, a bowling alley.
Oh yeah, okay.
So half resigned, half.
And then Nicolas Cage goes, a bowling alley.
A bowling alley.
So go for it.
Nicolas Cage is one of the pins. A bowling alley.
One of my favorite lines from that movie. Just him saying, a bowling alley. It's kick-ass, by the way, in case anyone doesn't know. Yeah, go for it.
Right, I need to say less, but
sorry,
I'm really tired.
I also need to stop interrupting.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It is a film that is very aware of its own self-appointed importance. Before the film even starts, you get a logo coming up of maybe one or two awards that it's already won. I can't remember, which I've never seen before. I've seen it in trailers, but I've never seen it before the actual screening of a film. Hey, we've won this prestigious award. That being said, it's not too serious. There are some really funny bits. There's a great bit where Laszlo meets another architect who's, I won't spoil too much, but the architect is trying to give him notes essentially.
Sure.
And you think that Laszlo is starting to go into this poetic speech, but then he just really bluntly insults him.
Okay.
So you do get bits that are quite funny. For the most part, it is a very serious story, though, because it's about a lot of things. The obvious allegory.
The American dream.
The American dream. It is telling the story of the American dream and how really it's an upturned society. You've got now it's quite a famous shot of the Statue of Liberty upside down, sort of saying this society is quite large and imposing, but ultimately it's all turned upside down, and in the end it's not going to work out, but this thing is too large and terrifying for any one person to stop. So it's almost saying that the United States is a thing that will just carry on being large and terrifying until it sort of subsumes itself or collapses in on itself. If it was just about that would be too on the nose, but there are copious other ways that you can read the movie. That means it's not just the on-the-nose stuff. It also means it never feels long. It's a 3.5 hour movie, but it never feels long. I personally, I think I would feel that way even without the intermission. But as we talked about, I like the fact that there's that intermission in there. It's put in organically. There is a point to it. It's not just, okay, they got to the halfway point, bam, we'll have the intermission here. And it's not a cliffhanger, which might come across as a bit cheesy in this sort of film. The obvious allegory is the relationship between filmmakers and financiers. So you have this guy Pierce character, Harrison. Let me just look up his name.
Harrison Ford. No, Harrison
He plays
Lee
Harrison
Van
Lee
Buren
Van
Sr.
Buren. So he gets commissioned by Harrison's son to redesign the library of the house. And then from that, he gets a job designing this community center for Harrison Sr.
Sure.
And there's this whole relationship where, Harrison mentions a couple of times, I'm actually quite jealous of people like you. And that can be read as, okay, money people being sort of jealous and almost becoming bitter because they see what creative types can do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this sort of forced relationship where the artist is trying to be uncompromising. They are proud of their vision, but at the same time, you know, if the money person takes away the check, you're not making anything.
Yeah.
And then you've got that whole idea of the artist being uncompromising because their vision means more to them than ultimately it can mean to anyone else. It's even got it's a little bit on the nose, but I found it quite amusing. There's an end credits song where the opening lyrics are literally "one for me, one for you," and it's almost like the director is going, "Okay, I've done films that are for you. This one's for me now."
Sure. Okay.
That with you know, a reference at the end of the film to it's not the journey, it is the destination that's important. It's almost saying, okay, filmmakers or creatives in general, they can compromise maybe an earlier project if it means that they can secure the project that means more to them.
Mm-hmm.
All the performances are amazing. You can't pick out one or two. I suppose you could pick out Adrian Brody just because he's present throughout pretty much the entire movie.
Yep.
There's a lot for considering it's 3.5 hours. It's not 3.5 hours because it's picking up every single detail and explaining everything.
Right.
What I quite liked is that there is a lot of ambiguous stuff for the audience to decide. There's Harrison's son, Harry, and his relationship with Laszlo's niece. And there's a lot of stuff there where you have to decide, okay, what's ultimately happened here. The fate of one of the characters is left ambiguous enough. I think 99% of people will come to the same realization. I don't want to say who it is or what the circumstances are because there's some quite shocking bits as well.
Which one's Laszlo's niece?
Laszlo's niece, Zofia.
Okay, not
by,
Felicity Jones. Is she the one
Felicity Jones? No, Felicity Jones plays his wife.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Rafi Casti plays Zofia, who is the niece who comes over with the wife.
So I heard there was a review from Mark Commode who said he got confused with one of the actors and said he was like, "Oh wow, Orlando Bloom looks really good in this," and then later realized it wasn't Orlando Bloom.
Okay, was it? Who would it be?
I don't know.
Alessandro Nivola, maybe.
Could be.
Who is also really great. It's almost a shame when his character goes, but it is organic. But that's a great. That's in the opening third, which is really great.
Sure.
But ultimately, it never feels too long. I felt like I just had a grin on my face the entire time because I was just able to submerge myself in the story, which I loved. I was really looking forward to this one. It didn't flood, and it wasn't a musical. It's also one that I do think I get the feeling it will give more on multiple viewings, but I don't think.
Did you have cinema goers that were on their best behavior?
Yes, I think because it was a late-ish. It didn't start late, but it finished very late. There was only maybe half a dozen people in there.
Okay.
Why did you have people in Anora just? Woo!
Yeah, my partner. She was just in because we streamed at home.
Oh, okay.
She was just going woo,
woo! And she was like throwing popcorn, and
I was like, "Can you stop, please?"
She just had a handful of jalapenos.
I'm trying to watch this streamer.
Putting the jalapenos under your nose.
Yeah. Like trying to take pictures of the TV.
You're ruining the smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
Taking pictures of the TV. She's also doing it with like a clicky-clack disposable camera.
Yeah. Keeps getting up, going up the stairs, coming down again, and dropping M&Ms everywhere.
Every time she takes a photo with a disposable, she just mutters, "Oh, can't wait to get that printed."
Anyway, what's your let's bring it back. What's your rating for
now?
The
I think it would be a chatting pitch, if not for a little the C word controversy.
Oh, are you talking about the beautiful AI augmentation? Hello, Leslie here. While editing this, we realized that Matthew had not given his full rating for The Brutalist, so he sent me a voice note. Here it is.
So I think that because of all the AI nonsense, I would give it maybe a chatting pit.
There's some AI stuff. Now, I read a little bit of a Vanity Fair article, which I assumed it was going to be creating the giant buildings that Laszlo was designing, because this movie was made on a budget. It's been reported $10 million. There are occasions where you can see that, even though it's got this really wide, massive canvas, sometimes you can see where the budget restrictions are, but for the most part, they do it well. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe it was the buildings, but it all looked fine to me. And then I look it up, and apparently it's to do with when certain characters are speaking Hungarian.
In fact, from what I've heard, it's 2 instances they used AI.
Okay.
One was the Hungarian speaking that you said. The other one was apparently used for creating some of the blueprints in the movie.
Oh, okay.
So they obviously, instead of hiring an actual architect to make blueprints for them, they just fed it through AI because it would have taken too long for them to do that.
Really?
But I honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I wasn't there. There's probably a reason why they used it, and I'm a little bit in 2 minds about the whole AI situation. On one hand, I do know that AI is a problem because the only way that you can use AI is to feed it other people's work.
Yeah,
so they can
I love the recent.
algorithm.
I love the recent headline. People complaining about Chinese state-backed AI companies saying they've stolen our ideas, and that's how they made that's how they made their AI machine. And it's like, dude, you're the head of an AI company. Your entire premise crumbles if you are not stealing ideas from people.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference. I know some people could argue, that's what all artists do. They take inspiration from what came before and then they create their new thing, or that they put a twist on what came before.
Yeah.
But AI is not the same, because AI is unfeeling.
Yeah.
It just does it.
That's the current debate with AI is you can either go at that angle and just say, look, AI is bad because of XYZ. It's been fed. But then at the same time, I personally think AI can be utilized for good if appropriated in the right manner. So let's take, for instance, I don't know, there was a really this kind of goes against my argument. There was a really good example, and I just can't think of it off the top of my head. And,
I mean, I would say that ultimately AI is fantastic. It should be used in everything. That's a really obvious joke. But I also wonder, in my mind, it's just, you know what? If you want to use AI, if you want to boil the world's oceans, then fine. Go and do it over there. I'm going to stay here where people actually want to make movies.
Yeah.
Because to me, making the movie, half the point of it is the process of making it.
Yeah.
I would not find making a movie enjoyable or writing something enjoyable by just going, tick-a-tack-tack-tack, Laszlo is architect, Hungarian, goes to US, and I spend 5 minutes typing in a prompt and then it spits everything out at me. That's impressive. I'm not arguing that it's not impressive. It's amazing. Yeah. But half the joy for me is being on set and solving the problems and actually making the movie, and how that can organically feed into the creative process. Actually being there on the day, oh, I've got this problem. Well, how can we work a way around it? Oh, actually, if we do it this way, because we're forced to, it actually makes the movie better, or it makes the movie different. It gives it this twist in some way. If you want to use AI, go over there. I'll stay here.
You're playing your little AI sandbox.
Yeah. You know what? If you want to do AI
Sandbox.
Oscars, we could have 2 separate award ceremonies, and there could be an AI Oscars where Billy Crystal is the host for 3,000 years, and all the jokes are ultimately the same, because it's just feeding into this AI loop. It's just the names change, and you have the same people winning all the awards. And then I'll watch the other Oscars, which is where the real movie makers are actually turning up.
So I made a joke with my partner about AI and the use of it, and I said to
her,
and then
her eyes glowed red.
She would. I am God.
Globotron, consumer of worlds and products.
Matthew, let me finish my anecdote.
Have you tried Riverside?
I said to her, look, if and when I die, okay, and I use the word if because
you have a plan?
Because I have a plan, right? I said, if and when I die, I would like you to create me a supercomputer and feed everything that I've ever recorded into it, and then create some weird consciousness that you
and everything
can still,
you know about me,
and use that as my gravestone. So whenever anyone comes over to visit me, they can have a full-on conversation with me, and it will be like I was really there.
That's an interesting plan. So is that the if then? Because you consider yourself
That's the if,
not
because
dying.
Exactly. Because effectively, I wouldn't be dead. I'd still be there.
But would you say if
what would be funny? What would
on.
be really funny is like everything that you would hear is going to be how I'm speaking from this podcast, because that's what I'll be using to feed into the algorithm. So it'll be like speaking to me as if I was a host on Chatting Pitch.
So you'd be like
66% off on Riverside.
And remember, if you visit The Undertaker, or they'd be like, it's a really wonderful day, isn't it? And you would go, I'd give it a full chatting pitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd only give it a chatting pee because of rain and humidity. See,
what do you think,
But
Matthew?
now, your argument, you're saying that you would still be alive, right?
Essentially,
sorry, are you implying I'm in the gravestone next to you? And we're just recording for eternity.
No, I'm implying that everyone who comes to meet me, I think, is Matthew.
Oh. So the AI that your personality has been fed into sees Matthew being mentioned loads of times and recognizes that as a word that just means you person.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll be like my future children comes up to the graveyard. It's like, I missed you, Dad. I miss you too, Matthew. I give it a full chatting pitch.
I'd give you a full chatting pitch, Matthew. So your argument was, right, that you would still be alive because of this AI monstrosity, right?
Yes.
But would you argue that you would still be alive if, your body passes on, dies, but there are still these podcast recordings?
Oh, you mean as in I left
would you say that
legacy
counts?
behind?
Would you say that counts as you still being alive?
No. But I mean, like, the idea of me is still alive, but me as a conscious being or semi-conscious being is not alive.
Okay.
I would argue that it will be more alive if there was a way to speak to me and it giving back actual prompts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the fact that you are maybe giving something different back at your gravestone means that you're alive.
Yeah, but I really am not.
because as I say, it's my gravestone.
Yeah. But it gives you the illusion that I'm alive. Yeah. Like it's an emulation of my life.
And every so often you've got like a little machine that pushes up on the soil.
Yeah.
It's on like a randomized. It's on a randomized timer.
Does every now and then the hand comes all the way through the soil, and you can give it a high five.
Whenever you rate something a full chatting pitch.
Yeah.
Just
Come on, Matthew, just give me a high five.
In silence, these fingers just emerge.
Yeah.
And you have to high five to prompt the machine to say the next thing.
I would also love a feature where the computer is actually it has to run off cartridges, So every now and then, if it's not working, you have to take it out, blow on it, and then put it back in again.
You have to take this mini Leslie out and put it back in.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I
Anyway,
look forward to going to your gravestone.
Yeah, me too.
In my robot body that I'm going to put my brain into. That's my plan.
What I would love to do is be a robot, but if I can't, the second best thing is to have my life be boiled down to a supercomputer that's buried underneath the soil. 3, 2, 1. Is that what you were doing? Sorry, it's robo time. Hey, let's do the pitch real quick.
Okay.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's pitching time. I'm just going to say the word mid-break jingle. I might end up cutting that bit out, but it helps me find where to put the jingle.
Okay.
Okay, so
if Leslie ever comes up to you in real life and says mid-break jingle and pauses, he's not saying you have to leave. He just needs a bit of time. It's like the Brutalist intermission. He just needs 15 minutes to let the AI, let the machine catch up and let it buffer. If you look closely in his eyes, you can see the spinning circles.
Yeah. It's like, what's his face in Alien Romulus, where his eyes roll at the back of his head.
Yeah.
And instead of the Wayland Corp,
it's exactly like that, because just like that, he needlessly quotes previous Alien movies that he's never seen.
When it rolls back, you'll see the Chatting Pitch logo in both my eyes. And then you hear me go, 20% off, Riverside. If this is not a singing endorsement of Riverside, I don't know what is.
I think we've done well as our first endorsement.
If it's going to be in the episode, but I'm assuming it probably will be at this point. We've mentioned it enough.
We can't avoid it now.
No. Okay, so
what's our pitch going to be? We've already pitched our own AI products.
Well, you haven't seen Anora, and I haven't seen The Brutalist, but what we both have a common thread in this, I guess this supposed pitch, is that AI is a thing.
Okay.
And then we have two movies that we both haven't seen each other's of. So I guess maybe what we can do is say, what would it be like if AI mashed these two movies together?
Okay, so you're going to give me a prompt for Anora, and I'll AI pitch Anora.
Sure.
And I give you a prompt for The Brutalist, and you pitch.
Oh, this is going to be hard because I'm not AI.
That was very convincing. Well done.
I can't think like an AI.
I can't think by myself.
Okay.
Maybe you are AI.
Right. So how are we going to do this?
I don't know if we could mash up both. How does that work? Would it be
if we can't mash up
instead of
both,
a dancer, it's like an older Hungarian guy who designs buildings in order to get you off? I mean,
well, how about this? Why don't we just do it?
Do you like these doors?
Yeah. I've got.
See all the concrete? There's so much concrete.
I've got away.
Do you see the marble detailing? Oh yeah, you like marble detailing, don't you? You want to touch the marble detailing? No touching.
Hey, I thought this was a PG podcast.
It is. I'm just talking about architecture, man.
Oh, great.
Anyone who wants to use this for the weird part of ASMR, that's fine. That really weirded me out when you revealed to me that people use ASMR for like. I thought ASMR was just for like relaxing yourself.
Ooh, I like
some
a little
people
bit
use
of
it getting to
feeling.
sleep.
Yeah. If anyone doesn't know, I told Matthew once that ASMR sometimes can be used for people to, get a little bit of something out of it.
A little bit of self-love, shall we say?
Yeah, let's say that.
Which is weird.
And it's strange, but, to each their own.
So if people want to use this, maybe we'll start our own ASMR channel, but for The Brutalist. Yeah.
Hey, I've got an idea for a pitch.
Yeah, you like those 45-degree doors, don't you?
Matthew, stop it. You're making me uncomfortable.
You like how the sunlight travels from north to south in this room, don't you? Yeah. Yeah, check out that library.
Here's the thing. You're doing it completely wrong.
Oh, okay. How should I be doing
the
it?
The ASMR that people, are mostly like this, right? Here we go. Hello and welcome back to this.
Sorry, my sexy octopus just crawled in front of the microphone.
Yeah, essentially that.
You know what?
Anyway,
If there was one thing guaranteed to not put me in the mood, it would be someone whispering like that in my ear.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a lot of.
Hi, how you doing?
That's a lot of ASMR. So anyway, I do have a pitch idea for you,
Go
and here
on.
we go. You ready?
Go on.
The brutal list, right? And
Okay.
it's not like it's nothing about architecture.
It's just a
it's
list.
actually about a robot. No, it's like the brutal dash list,
Yeah. Okay.
right? Oh no, the brutal dash ist.
Oh, okay.
And that's what's printed on this giant mech suit robot.
Okay.
That he's going around saying, "I am the brutalist. I will give you the most brutal." He's the AI.
Have some brutal smash.
I am the most brutalist of all. You will receive my brutal fist. The brutal fist.
That's like if someone said,
and his girlfriend Anora.
If they typed in, if they typed in the brutalist, but with Bruce Lee, and it would just be the brutal fist, wouldn't it?
The brutal fist.
The Bruce Lee fist. And then there's like a 12-year-old boy going, "You're not the brutalist. I'm the brutalist." And this mech could easily crush this child, but they're just talking. They're just talking trash at each other. And then I guess the 12. Go on.
Is it the brutalist, and then colon brutal fist?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah.
Might as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the sequel where Adrian Brody has just morphed into a giant mech suit.
Yeah, because at the end. No, actually, no.
Spoiler alert.
I don't want to spoil the brutalist, but he does start drawing a blueprint that looks like a fist.
Big fist, big robot fist. Yeah. The brutal,
and it ends with him as an 80-year-old going, and then that's when it cuts to credits.
Yeah,
the brutal fist will return.
And then the person who invented robot dancing is seen on the opposite side of the room. He's like, "Oh, I have an idea." Cut to black.
Yeah, he's a bit like, I'm sick of working by myself. If only I could find a partner to work with. And then they see each other across the room.
Yeah. And then the sequel will be Brutal Fist 2.
And they fist bump. And as you see the fists in close up, like it explodes into like this cartoon version of Robo Fists fist bumping.
Yeah.
And that's when the credits roll.
Yeah.
There we go. So we've sort of pitched the ending of The Brutalist. Spoiler alert. Mm-hmm. There's robots. And now we're going to pitch the sequel, right?
Yeah.
And Anora is there also.
I want it to be like the title comes up and then it goes like The Brutalist, Brutal Fist. And then the theme song is like, bam, robot rock, robot rock. And then you just see like, and it's like, in
Robo Fist, fighting crime.
You know how like at the beginning of Saturday Night Fever, just walking down the street, it's like, bow, 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 but it's just the big robot beat. Robot rock, robot rock. and Anora's there. Anora's there.
So what is her relationship?
I guess that ties in with the dancing, Anora is also a dancing robot.
Okay. Yeah. So is Anora a dancing robot because this is set in 2135?
The future.
So it's still Anora, but she's in the body of a robot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Adrian Brody is somehow still alive.
Yeah.
He's 200. He's 200 years old. He's inside this giant mech.
They tried to create a supercomputer to put me in the grave, but I said no. I must be walking, talking, dancing. And then it's a musical as well. Electric Boogaloo.
I just like the little emphasis on dancing. Yeah. So he enters a dance competition. He has to beat Anora in a dance competition. Yeah. But the thing is, she's doing like all the sort of like more provocative dancing.
Yeah, the sultry.
And he's like, "This should not be allowed. This is not dirty dancing. This is the robot."
And then he learns how to dirty dance because he just forgets to clean himself.
So there's like a giant mess.
He becomes all rusty. It's like, this is literally dirty dancing.
But then he looks at the judges and they're like really getting hot and heavy. He's like, somehow it's working.
Are the judges
I do
also
not
robots?
understand you humans. But let's dance.
Oh, so the judges are humans. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the judges were also robots.
Maybe you could have one robot.
You have one robot who puts the scorecard up.
But it's a digital one. So it comes up blank. It comes up blank, and then all the numbers are flashing on the screen, like calculating. 4.5 out of 5.
And then we put some comedy in there, and then like it malfunctions. It goes, the weather today is the highs of 93 degrees.
What's your score, Judge-o-tron 4000? Sunny with spells of rain.
Oh, Judge-o-tron, womp womp.
I don't know why we keep you around.
And then can we like have
because of my winning personality?
We have cameos of every other like popular robot characters. We got RoboCop in the background walking.
Yeah.
What's another popular? Terminators were walking around.
Bender.
But that
fully animated.
Fully animated 2D Bender. There are others. Wally's there.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they all have a dance party.
He's hard to find.
He's hard to find because he's so small and on another planet.
Yeah. That'll be one of those YouTube videos, like 63 Easter eggs about the brutalist, brutal fist that you didn't spot. Did you know wrong. If you zoom in?
Everything wrong with the brutal fist. Anora is not actually a robot.
Brutal fist she is a controversy. Cyborg. AI used to create the AI.
Yeah.
Whatever, mate.
Whatever.
You keep making YouTube videos. That's fine.
So how does brutalist, brutal fist? Dumb title.
Adrian Brody, 300 years old, and it's just it's a big picture of old Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
There's their thumbnail.
Adrian Brody, I need you to distract Anora. Will you take my hand?
He comes
Who
back.
Are you? I am the Judge-o-tron. And he's like,
I am Judge-o-tron 5,000.
5,000.
He's 300 feet
I have
tall.
upgraded.
He's really aggressive. He's got like spikes all over him.
Yeah. I have upgraded my operating system to kill.
No. He's still a little bit broken. So he's got all like these missiles pop out and the lasers, and he's 300 feet tall, but he's still like, my operating system is now set to sunny with showers of rain.
Yeah. Destroy.
Spells of rain.
The stock market is up 5%. It is 4:00. Did you ever have one of those clocks as a kid? I had one of those clocks where you pushed the button.
I had a Spider-Man one, and it was an alarm clock, and it was quite cool. Like, for like a kid's alarm clock, it was a Spidey model, like stood up, surrounded by like some Spidey themed detailing. But the alarm wasn't like a gentle alarm.
No,
the alarm was quotes from the movie.
Was this the alarm?
I wish it was. All right.
That should be the ending.
No, honestly, the alarm. I'll keep saying this just in case you want to keep it in. The alarm was like Bruce Campbell just going, "The Amazing Spider-Man," and it would just like terrify me like that. Imagine being woken up like that.
Yeah. So is it Spider-Man the movie alarm?
Yeah. Tobey Maguire. Yeah.
I see. Great.
Anyway, mate, I hear my family.
I think that's it.
So I should probably go and join them.
Well, we created the ending.
Yeah.
And the ending was this. Goodbye, everybody. Chatting Pitch has been brought to you by Leslie Way and Matthew D. Smith. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to listen to others and maybe even subscribe. You can follow us on the website, formerly known as Twitter.
Listen to us on Spotify or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Leslie and Matthew have their own side hustles as well. Feel free to check out Leslie's YouTube channel or Matthew's Medium blog. Links in the description. If you want anything else, we might have other links in the description if we think of anything interesting to add. Thank you for listening. I love you.